So I'm joined by Shane Ahearne and Kieran O'Gorman ahead of county final weekend here in Waterford. Shane will return to an intermediate on Ryan versus Dunhill, 4 o'clock in Welsh Park on Saturday. You saw Dunhill defeat your native Ferrybank at a very wet and windy Welsh Park last Sunday. Where do their strengths lie?
Yeah, in fairness to Dunhill, I think from the start of the year at intermediate, Eastern Intermediate anyway, they would have been the team that were on the edge of everybody's lips saying, yeah, it'll be Dunhill's this year. There's very little between any of the teams in the East, and that kind of proves itself by nearly every year. There's different teams in semi-finals or finals, and it was their year this year, Ferrybank, to try and take on Dunhill, but we failed. But they're a strong team, and I think they got a kind of the influx of the likes of Ahearne coming into the team from Bunman and Ben Gallagher, and that has really strengthened them up, And up front then they've kind of Shane Casey and Emma Murphy doing a lot of the scores between them. So Tomas Casey at centre forward. So Dunhill are a good team. They're a good hurling team. Young Bonner, Killian Bonner, I think is strong as well with plenty running. And Davy Phelan at centre at full back. So they're a strong team, they're a physical team, and yet they can get the scores up front as well. Last week against Ferrybank, they got kind of, as you mentioned, the wind and the rain was behind them in the first half. They got the 9 or 10 points ahead, and Ferrybank struggled then to get those points back. I think if Dunhill get ahead of you, they're very hard to catch. Sometimes if you can go down the stretch with them, if you can keep it to a point or two, they can possibly be caught then, all right. But if they get a lead up, they're very hard to catch.
You mentioned Ahearne there, like a player that Kieran was involved with at minor under 21. What sort of form is he in at the moment?
Yeah, I suppose they've had a family tragedy enough there in the last few weeks, and it's been tough for him, and even last Sunday I saw all the family there rallying around with him, which is great to see. But he's a strong hurler, plenty of hurling, and a good bit of very, strong physical. Nice little bit of cutting in him too, let's say, for want of a better way of putting it. But he's a great addition to Dunhill, and he's really kind of, I think for the last few years we all knew that the damage that Shane Casey and Emma Murphy can do up front, but now with Ahearne at the back as well, he's really balanced out that team. Looking
at the western side of things, Kieran, on Ryan have this perfect 100% record in county intermediate finals. They're going for their fourth. Who will their key men be on Saturday?
I suppose just before we start, I'd just like to wish Jack O'Flynn the best of luck in his recovery from his serious enough injury. It's going to keep him out for a long time. And just all the best, Jack, and hope you're back soon. And regardless about hurling, just hope that you'll be okay. I suppose Fergal Kieran is there in the forward line. Fergal and Donny Brannock, if he's fully fit. Donny, the last said, Donny's a handful for anyone. So Fergal Kieran. And you've Oisin O'Callaghan. There's three very good forwards. So look, they have the experience of winning these finals. Kind of win Dunhill. I can't remember the last time that they were up senior. I know the year Lismore.
Yeah, about 10 years ago, I think. Kieran, they were up senior.
They were in the county final there. Lismore beat them there a few years ago. But as Shane said, the addition of Ahearne being an addition to any team in the senior grade, never mind in the intermediate grade. But even going back, we were talking about experience. Experience is brilliant. Experience of county finals is very good, and all the ring players have the experience of county finals. In saying that, I'm not sure. I saw him twice this year, and I wasn't as impressed as I was with him in other years. I just think that they're maybe a little bit flat or something. I don't know. I just so on that, I'd nearly be favouring Dunhill with the likes of Shane Casey and Murphy and Mihal. You know what I mean? They might have a better balance all around the field. Last week's Western final, it took Shane Curran to come from wing back, I think, to get the goal. Their forwards didn't get it.
It was a very rare goal, wasn't it, for Shane O'Curran?
Yeah. His father was shouting about him work all the week.
And rightly so.
No, but look, it'll be a close game, but I just fancy Dunhill. Maybe with the firepower Shane Casey and Murphy, and then with the steadiness of Mihal, maybe a centre-back could swing it in Dunhill's favour.
Very good. Shane, earlier on in the day, the Junior A final, Bricky Rangers versus Mount Sion, 1 o'clock in Welsh Park. Mount Sion only got over Rowan Moore on Monday night in the Eastern final at the WIT Arena. What will they bring to the table, do you think?
Yeah, just looking at the Mount Sion team, they have a fairly young team from what we can see, and I did get a phone call from a friend of mine up in County Wicklow recently telling me that Mount Sinai got this fella by the name of Paul Doyle, and I actually saw him tugged out as a sub for the senior team last week, and my God, what a size of a man. So just, it's kind of good maybe to see Mount Sinai that they're not going back to former seniors, if you know what I mean, or former county players or that type of thing, that they're kind of growing a team there themselves. They were competitive enough at intermediate for a few years till they felt it was very hard to field three adult teams. So and I think they possibly could be still doing three adult teams, but one in junior A now, and so just the fact that they've kind of that intermediate experience and kind of that. Mount Sinai 3 or 4 years ago had two good minor teams coming together, and there's some of that there. So yeah, I think Mount Sinai are a strong team coming there, but I do know Bricky's not recently enough down from intermediate are very strong as well. So would know a lot about Bricky's, but yeah, I think it could be Bricky's that bit stronger.
Yeah, will Bricky's be favourites, Kieran, given that this is their first team coming up against Mount Sinai's second string?
Yeah, actually, believe it or not, I don't know, should I be even saying this and I'm trying to pick winners of matches here. I fancy Bricky's to win an intermediate about 3 years ago. I know they're in a junior county final. But the year that they got relegated, I think Ballysaga got beaten by a point in Cappoquin, and Ballysaga went on to win the county that year, and you can see what Ballysaga has done. So there wasn't that much in it. They got caught by Strably that year in a relegation playoff. Maybe they thought they'd come straight back up last year. Sometimes if a team gets relegated, they say, look, we'll but they regrouped this year. They're in a county final. They're serious about it. Philip Welsh is centre back, and Cormac O'Grady, they're on middle of the field. They're two very good. They're two good hurlers. They'll be their main men, and it's their first team against the club's second team. On that basis, I'd be fancying Bricky's. I think, yeah, Bricky's, because they have the experience. A lot of them have the experience of playing intermediate of a team that was very unlucky not to stay up and not be a lot more competitive in intermediate over a number of years. But yeah, I'd fancy the Bricky's to win this one.
So Bricky's in the junior A final for Kieran O'Gorman. And just looking at the other two junior finals, as we have Friday 7:30 Carrickbeg junior B final, Ballygunner's 4 team versus Fourmile Water's second team. So that's coming up shortly, 7:30 in Carrickbeg. And then on Saturday 1:30 WT Arena junior C final on Shanafubble versus Butlerstown. And Kieran, can you just tell us a little bit about the on Shanafubble story?
Yeah, I was at that Western final last week when they played Mindeligo, and it was brilliant. It was great excitement, and even before, I think I was asking Martin Conor, it's their first time having a hurling team in Shanafubble for 23 years, and they're in a county final on the weekend. I could be wrong now on that, but I think that's what he said. It's their first hurling team in 23 years. But it's brilliant, and actually they have a lad playing that I think he won a Cork Senior. He won a Cork Senior medal with Middleton back in the day, and so he'll bring his experience to the field from anyway. They can rely on him, and plus they have an experienced man in the line in Bertie O'Murphy.
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah, he done a few nights with him. He was down the line with him last week. So yeah, look, it'd be great for him to win it. Do you know what I mean? Like if it's so long since they had a hurling team down. So yeah, I'd like to see him to win it. Yeah,
great stuff. Well, Kieran O'Gorman and Shane Ahearne, really enjoyed the chat here today, and enjoy all the finals over the weekend.
Thanks very much, Tomas.
Lorna Porca with Tomas McCarthy on WLR.
The final reminder of our competition: 2 pairs of passes to Sunday's senior hurling final between Ballygunner and Rowan Moore. All you have to do is tell us who is the Rowan Moore hurling manager. Text your answer and your name to 083 3333 975. Who is the Rowan Moore hurling manager? 083 3333 975.
Now you're hurling. Lorna Porca with Tomas McCarthy on WLR.